police are asking the city council to add more officers to the force, and the question could soon go before voters. A public hearing is on this issue is about to get underway. Jason Zimmerman is live outside Menasha City Hall with details about why the request is needed. Jason.
Jeff, Menasha police say that the size of their department has not kept up with a growing population, and they're now understaffed to the point it could impact services. All of this will be discussed during a public hearing and presentation before the city council and mayors set to get underway roughly around 4:45 this afternoon. Right now, the department is authorized to have 32 officers. This is 1.7 officers per 1,000 citizens. According to FBI statistics, the ratio in Wisconsin is 2.2 officers per 1,000 citizens. The national average is 2.4 officers. Menasha would need to add 7 officers to match the state average and 11 officers to match the national average. To cover the cost of staffing, a staffing increase, voters would need to approve a referendum, which would include money for equipment and training.
The police department's request is going to be to add 6 officers, and what that would allow us to do is to add personnel to our patrol efforts, our investigative area, and an administrative position. An additional position, a 7th position, would allow us to be able to also look into adding a potential mental health officer.
The public will have a chance to weigh in on this as well during a city council meeting tonight at 6 o'clock. The full council could vote on this as early as May 20th. The cost to add the 6 officers is roughly just under $1 million. Reporting live in Menasha, Jason Zimmerman, Action 2 News.